we're trying something new here for the channel today, and we're just going to be talking about the 2023 season in a podcast style format, talking about the race weekend, and we will be discussing key points like what happened in the race, issues and things, more race control issues and talking points, because that's where I'm most interested in, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm here with Sam today.
Yeah.
But Sam's obviously also a major F1 fan, so knows a lot more about testing.
Quite obsessed, but yeah.
Yeah, so that's why he's here today, because obviously today's focus is testing, pre-season testing, which has finished now. So.
Yeah, so we're recording this on the Sunday.
Yeah.
We've kind of been able to digest somewhat what happened, and we've kind of got a rough base of where we think the cars are going to be. Mm-hmm. But obviously, to preface this at the start, we are both aware testing times don't matter.
Yeah, it's completely. It will all change.
It will all change. Probably apart from Red Bull being at the top.
Yeah,
but we'll go into that.
We won't just randomly get a Haas come out and be P1. Well, I mean,
in Brazil, yeah.
To be fair. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get into
right. So let's get into it. So, firstly, to introduce who we are.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, if you're new to the channel or whatever, my name's Abby. I study law at Royal Holloway University of London, which is where we are right now, in student accommodation. I'm interested in the regulatory side of motorsport and pursuing a licence to become clerk of the course on a national level, and then obviously take that further. I'm not going to exclusively say F1 because that's not the case. You know, I'm interested in a lot of a range of international motorsport events.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But yeah, anyway, then
Sam. So I'm Sam. I also study law at Royal Holloway, and I aspire to be an in-house lawyer for a Formula 1 team in the future. So that's my main kind of career goal. It's far-fetched, but it's there. As I said, I'm a big McLaren Lando fan, always have been, always will be, however far down the grid we are. And completely obsessed with Formula 1, like Abby as well.
Yeah. Certainly, yeah, and I'll preface that as well. I don't have like a favourite team or a favourite driver. Obviously, I'm interested in the regulatory side of motorsport, and I want to be in race control, race director, all that jazz. So I'm not going to come out, and I've never on any of my channels come out and said I've got a favourite driver. I may have a Lando jumper, but, you know,
many Lando.
I have. To be fair, I have merch from every single team, so it doesn't really matter. But,
it's the same with me. I've got like 40 caps.
Yeah, literally. So that's a preface, but yeah. That's good. So,
so let's move on to the testing.
Yeah, let's move on. So to get into it, we're going to talk about each day and what we saw on each day, and
from what you watched anyway.
From what I watched anyway, but
to preface, I watched about I'd say about 18 hours of testing. You watched probably about 2?
I didn't even watch 2 hours. 2 hours is a long time.
Yeah.
To be fair, to preface it, I didn't watch a lot of testing. I am broadening my horizon of what I'm watching in terms of motorsport times, so I didn't actually get a chance to watch testing this season. But I've read up on it, so don't worry.
Yeah.
You know.
I've debriefed you on.
I've debriefed me on it, but here we are. Okay, so day 1, top 3 constructors, we had Red Bull, Aston Martin and Ferrari. Now, Aston Martin, where did that come from?
It's very interesting to see where they are, because obviously last season they were 6th, I believe. 6th or 7th.
Yeah.
Definitely in the fight for 6th anyway. Mm-hmm. But towards the end of last season, definitely you could see that they were improving. Vettel was getting more and more positions. Obviously, we had good drives at the US Grand Prix, Abu Dhabi if they didn't screw over his strategy. So we kind of saw the rise of Aston Martin happening, but this testing has really shown where they were, and definitely what Alonso saw in them anyway.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the main reasons why he shifted over to there. And I'm quite excited to see what happens.
100%. I mean,
green car on the front rows of the grid.
It'd be unreal. It'd be unreal. And obviously, you don't really support anyone.
No,
I would say I'm a Lando fan at heart, a McLaren fan, which we'll get into, but I'm quite disappointed after the season happened.
Yeah.
But second and third driver, Alonso is really up there for me, and I think I still rate him very highly. I think he'll be able to put that Aston Martin in podium positions this season.
I think so.
Going off of testing anyway, of course.
I'll tell you what would be good to see, Alonso and Lewis on the podium again.
That would be unreal. Well, because we saw it at Qatar, and that was fun.
Yeah.
I think definitely. And do you know what? Aston could be in the fight for a win this season.
I think so.
We saw at tracks like Suzuka, they were looking strong.
Agreed.
And look, we've had mad races. We didn't have many mad races last season, but we're due one at some point. So I think if we do have a mad race like that, Alonso could definitely be in with a fight.
I think so. And I think everyone who's been watching F1 for a long time would quite like to see that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I think, just seeing Alonso back on the podium, like Qatar 2021, seeing him back on the podium,
it was so good.
It was so good to see. And look, he's on 98 podiums. He's going to want to make that 100 this year.
So I think I made a TikTok on that. I think when he was on the podium, and I did like a shift to him and Lewis there, and then him and Lewis in the past, and it was just really quite nice to see.
It kind of brings back the memories, and I think definitely off of testing we can say that his move to Aston was a brilliant call. I mean, we saw it with Lewis moving from McLaren to Mercedes. Everyone kind of mocked him for that, but I think especially at the end of last season, and especially when the car liveries were revealed as well, Alpine were looking like fourth fastest car, easily, possibly pushing for third as well. That was their aim this season. So everyone kind of mocked Alonso for that, but after this testing, I think no one's going to be.
I think so. I think everyone's gone back on what they've previously said. At the end of the 2022 season, we probably thought, Aston Martin. I don't know whether that's a good move or not. It could
pay off, but it was unlikely. But look, Stroll's funding was always they were always going to be in the range of championship contention. Towards 2024, 2025. That was going to be a guarantee.
I mean, that's evident, isn't it? Even with their new factory they've built.
We drove past the factory, and it's a thing to behold. It really is. They're just chucking money
left, right,
at everything.
And you can imagine the amount of money they've put into their factory. Can you imagine the amount of money they've put into designing their car?
Yeah.
So you'd like to think that it's going
100%.
to be good.
And look, I think even though you can't take times into account with testing, you can take into account what the car looked like. And I think out of everyone, Red Bull and Aston's cars look so stable on the track. They look like they were able to actually push the limits of the car rather than trying to find where the limits were. And I think definitely Alonso, even though he had his offs, this, that and the other, he was able to control the car very well. And also Felipe Drugovich, we should talk about that. So obviously Stroll is rumoured to have fractured both his wrists.
So obviously Felipe came in.
Felipe came in, F2 champion from last year, begrudgingly from me because I'm a Teleport Chair fan, and I won't talk about F2 much, but I'm very excited for this season. So Felipe came in, very strong in the car again. I think he came P6 or P7 on one of the days.
I'll check.
And I think it was one of the days. It must have been the last day. Both him and Alonso were strong. That was day 2. So he was in P10, just behind Alonso.
Just behind Alonso. So.
But it's the fact that he was able to come into the car, do loads of laps, and just the car looked really strong.
It's impressive on his behalf as well, because he's got to go to a completely different new setup for this car. It's obviously different to F2 and F1, and how it handles and get used to it.
And look, he's only really been in the simulator. Look, he had 2 FP1s at the end of last year, and apart from that, he's only really been in the simulator, and he was able to come in, do 70 laps at the end of day 3, really strong in the car, obviously doing the job that Aston Martin wanted him to do. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see where Aston Martin are. Look, it's looking like Drugovich is going to be in the car for the Bahrain Grand Prix.
It's looking that way.
So if he can stick with Alonso, because obviously Alonso's had a lot of experience in a lot of different cars, it's not going to be difficult for him to mould to the Aston Martin.
No, absolutely not, no.
So it will be interesting to see where Felipe is. If he can stick with Alonso.
I mean,
that's a performance.
Well, going from that as well, obviously we're talking about the top constructors that we've seen from testing and things like that, and because Aston Martin is such a top contender in the top 4, I would say.
I would say as well,
it'd be good to see both drivers both up there in that, because obviously we've seen it before where you've got a really fast constructor and then obviously one really good driver and then maybe someone else that can't get the car to work for them.
100%. So, I mean, we saw it with McLaren last year, I think. Look, even though Ricciardo is one hell of a driver, I think all F1 fans can admit that, he just didn't gel with the car. If he had gelled with the car last year, McLaren would have had P4 in the constructors. So hopefully that isn't the case with Aston Martin. Look, Stroll is a great driver. I think he's definitely overhated.
Absolutely, I think he is.
I think he's a top driver. Like we saw it in Turkey 2020 and this, that and the other, and Baku 2017 with Williams as well. He's a top driver, but it's whether he can stick with Alonso, and I think we saw last year with Vettel as well. He can stick with him.
No, I think so. I think he's a really good driver. You know, like everyone says, if someone comes and says, you know, they're not a very good driver in F1, it's like, well, they've all got to be really good drivers. They are all absolutely incredible. They are at the top of their game and the top of the sport.
It's the smallest margins.
It's the margins that they're all so close together, and obviously you've got different teams, you've got so many different things, and obviously strategy. We've all seen that is.
And we'll get onto that with Ferrari this year as well.
We will get onto that.
But
if it doesn't recognise my face, apparently.
I mean, if we move off of Aston, because obviously that is a massive talk. And it will be interesting. I'm really interested to see where they're going to be. But obviously, another two constructors that looked really kind of promising on their glory runs. To be fair, to preface, they were glory runs. I think every F1 fan can admit that. But Alfa Romeo and Williams again looked relatively strong. I mean, Joe's glory run was a second quicker than his Q2 time last year. Obviously different conditions, this, that and the other.
He's the same with Sargent as well. So he did a better time than Albon did in Q2 last year in Baku. So it's quite interesting to see, to be honest. It's good to see Williams get I really do think they've got it this year as well. I
mean, they said after their shakedown as well that look, the reason that their car was slow last year was finding that window in which it works, and it was an incredibly tight window, but they found it in places like Monza, and obviously Melbourne they didn't find it, but they were still very strong. So I think for Windows it was finding that kind of place where their car was happy, and after the shakedown Albon said they could find that. So I think there will be more races where we see Williams at least racing in the points. Whether they finish there or not is a different matter, but I think both Albon and Sargent will be in Q3 this season.
I think so. I think we can see that. I mean, obviously, I don't know if I would probably be strong enough to say they'll be in every Q3 because obviously, I do think we will see them in Q3 at some point in the season. To be honest, because just to preface, we are getting used to this.
This is going to be a little bit rough on the edges for the first one.
So bear with us, but it will be what it will be, and it'll be enjoyable, hopefully.
So the camera had a 10-minute recording limit. So
we were just talking for 10 minutes anyway.
We went on a tandem anyway. So
So let's move on to Mercedes at testing. So what do you think?
The car looked stronger than last year. I will say that we didn't have any kind of offs from Hamilton or George or any major offs anyway.
But they were off pace.
They were off pace, and they were off pace considerably, I'd say. And the car didn't look nice to drive. It looked oversteery, and yet understeery at times as well. It was kind of all over the place. And the porpoising was there. It was less considerable than last time, but it was there. And unfortunately, I think they're going to be maybe 8-9 tenths off Red Bull and Ferrari again.
I think so.
It's going to be difficult, but they did announce this morning that they were going to bring a new sidepod upgrade to Baku, in which the sidepods would look considerably different. Which we can take from that, it's going to look like the Red Bull.
That's true. Considerably different.
Considerably different.
Control V, Control C, Control V.
We're going to have a black Red Bull.
Let's put red side pods, just put Red Bull, but
we'll just have the Oracle as well.
Everything doesn't matter.
But I think again another year off the championship.
Absolutely, I think that, but also I think they will still be in top 4.
They will still 100%. We can never rule out Mercedes from podiums.
No, absolutely. We've got this a really strong driver lineup. 7-time world champion, and obviously George Russell coming in.
Now race winner. He's got the experience. He knows what he's doing. He had a very, very good season last year. Obviously with a little bit of a messy period with Kota and Singapore. But he's definitely a very, very strong driver. We saw him up against Lewis most of the times.
They were pretty much matched as well in races, then if not...
People won't like to hear that, but...
it is what it is at this point.
But I do think their choice to stay with the zero pod design was interesting.
I
personally wouldn't have went for that, because they saw that look, they're trying to stick with it, but is it the right choice? Are they losing years on Red Bull, Ferrari, who are still going to be pushing the development?
Strange.
They're not going to be able to keep up with them.
No, I don't. Yeah.
And especially Aston now as well.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't bring that to testing. It would have made a little bit more sense, but I don't know.
But again, they're bringing them to Baku. They've announced that they're bringing them to Baku. Baku's a sprint weekend. They've got one practice session before.
Yeah, absolutely. So it would make more sense to bring it to testing, to understand it, and then go from there. So I don't know. But obviously, they probably have a strategy. Obviously,
they're not stupid.
No.
They've got some brilliant engineers, and yeah. But it was very interesting at the Caravelle to see that they stuck with the no side pod.
Yeah. But the black Mercedes.
The bringing it back to black. It was.
We're not talking about liveries here, but God, Liberty.
Liveries. That's the next video.
That's the next video. But wow,
it's one hell of a car,
and I really want to see that up there.
Yes, yeah. It would be nice to see that, especially on the podium. It's a lovely car.
I've always favoured.
I disagree with the green on Russell's car because obviously Hamilton has the yellow.
Yeah.
George had blue.
Strange.
And now they've changed it to green, even though he has a more blue helmet now.
Yeah.
Confusing, but
anyway.
It was right. Anyway, we'll talk about liveries.
Next episode.
So, should we talk about the Red Bull with AlphaTauri?
Yeah, let's talk about that, because obviously that's quite recent news.
Yes, I think it was yesterday that it came out.
Yeah, well, I'll let you say that.
Yeah, so yesterday, Amos, who's one of the kind of top journalist things for Formula 1, came out that apparently Red Bull management are considering selling AlphaTauri to another team, another future team, if they don't move to London, to England, which is interesting because they will lose their two kind of junior places, which has given them the advantage. And we should say that the more likely buyer, if they are sold, is Andretti. Look, Andretti's going to be in the sport no matter what in the next couple of years, and it's whether they come in with AlphaTauri or whether they bring in their own team. But the other two teams that have been linked is Hightech GP and the Mumbai Falcons as well, who sponsor Jehan Daruvula, who's racing an F2 for another season this season. Somehow he's got himself a drive. But yeah, I think it would definitely be interesting with that team, and interesting to see where Red Bull go with it, because obviously that is, if they didn't have that right now, they wouldn't have been able to test Pierre Gasly, they wouldn't have been able to test Snowden.
It's a really good setup for them in terms of that, in terms of the drivers, and obviously they've got Max, and I feel like Max is in quite a fixed place in the team. I feel like I can never look at Red Bull and not see Max there, but obviously Perez obviously great driver, great person in general, but obviously I don't see him as fixed as.
And I also don't see Red Bull sending AlphaTauri with Checo in the team.
No.
I think that they would have to move someone else up.
Because if they had someone come into contention that was obviously going to be really fast, and they want to put them as second driver, who's always going to be a second driver, isn't it? But they want to put Checo in. They wouldn't want to lose Checo.
No, 100%.
Because Checo's such a great driver. Yeah. And to put him in an AlphaTauri would make more sense.
Yeah, and look, we'll have areas in this podcast where we're talking about the transfer market and this, that and the other, but I think, look, Red Bull have some really, really strong academy drivers. They have Fittipaldi, they have Iwasa, who's bloody rapid as well. They have so many more, and obviously Sonoda's a really good talent. Is he on the level that Red Bull would want him to be? Is he Red Bull first team contention?
No,
I don't think so.
But he's perfect for the AlphaTauri.
He's perfect, and that's why,
it works for them.
It works brilliantly. Yeah. So, look, Checo's got 2 years probably left with the team, and then they're going to have to look for a future driver, whether that be in their academy, or whether that be stretching out. Because obviously Checo was never in the Red Bull academy. He was in the Ferrari academy, but
that'd been interesting.
And look, there are many good drivers out there for the Red Bull team. Obviously, there's Lando. They'll be looking forward to other talents as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's the driver market, isn't it? You can never really.
Silly season is mad. I mean, who would have predicted that Sargent be in the Williams and Alonso in the Astons?
Honestly, you wouldn't ever see that.
Look, I think moving from Williams, a car that's going to be probably in the Williams area is McLaren. And as a McLaren fan, I'm devastated by the fact that again we've had another bad testing session. I mean, Lando had about 37 laps. I think it was poor, but the McLaren doesn't look good, and I think we're going to be in the same place for Bahrain as we were last year, kind of fighting to get out of Q1.
Yeah.
But they have. It's a shame because look, Lando is one hell of a driver. This isn't my bias coming out here, but I think he is top talent, and I think he is being weighted at McLaren.
Yeah.
And he doesn't see his future with that team. I think it's fair to say.
I think so. Yeah, but obviously wants to do well. But it's such a shame as well because again I want to talk about the livery again because
the McLaren
livery. Oh my god.
Controversial, but I
love it.
I love it as well.
I want to see it up there.
Yeah.
And also I want to see McLaren up there because they've always been a top team like back in the day, but the last few seasons. It's just, when we had Lando and Carlos, like it was such a great dynamic. And I just really want to see that again.
Yeah.
But
don't really want to talk about that for long, but yeah. No. It's going to be really interesting to see if they can develop that car to be in a good area because look, we should be fighting for P5, P6. Obviously, I think P4 is a bit too much of a stretch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think. Yeah.
I think we'll see.
We will see. But yeah, let's go on, I think, and see what our predictions are for the season as well.
So obviously, it's difficult to predict the outcome of the season, So this is all just based on what we've seen from testing and obviously what we've seen in the past and things like that. So that's where we're going to go from that.
And also kind of development cycles as well. I mean, look, we've seen McLaren was way down the grid at Bahrain, and they brought it back to be able to fight for P4. So yeah.
It's possible, but so this is pretty much our predictions for the season.
Yeah.
So we'll start off with top 4 constructors. I think we've pretty much
so
that.
Red Bull top. I think it would be very difficult to deny Max another World Championship as well.
I think so. I think it'll be between Red Bull and Ferrari as in 1 and 2.
100%. 100%.
Seeing that, it'd be really good to see that again, though. Because we sort of obviously lost that through the strategy issues and stuff with Ferrari, which we won't get
into. And look, Ferrari they have highly lead strategists.
Yes, true.
So hopefully, and obviously Fred coming through as well. Yeah. Fred's renowned for being a great team principal, so it'll be interesting to see his kind of take and how he changes the team and moulds it around.
That's what I mean.
Moulds it around himself, but
I'm obviously not going to say that they'll be a top team, but I really hope they will be fighting with Red Bull this year.
I hope there's a battle because look, we saw a battle at the start of the season last year, but it didn't go the full distance.
We saw that in the very first race. And everyone was thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be such a good season. And obviously, as we went on, we lost it.
Yeah.
And I really hope we don't see that this year.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, even though we kind of lost that kind of battle as Max got further and further ahead, I don't think the races were boring.
No.
I think they were definitely highly contested, and especially with Merck's race pace, it brought in a little bit of mystery. But I mean, hopefully we have that kind of two main. It's going to be Charles, and it's going to be Max.
Everyone wants to see him in his winning era.
Yes,
they want him on top of the podium.
And look, it's the 16th season without Ferrari having a championship. Charles number 16. He's
going to want that.
It's written in the stars.
It is. It really is. It really is. We said we can't predict, but come on, it's written in the stars.
It's there. But so I think Ferrari are definitely second. In the fight for first.
Yeah, and then
third.
Fourth. That's a really sticky one, to be honest, isn't it? Because in my head, it's between Mercedes and Aston.
100%, I agree. But it's who comes out on top, and I think the driver lineup between the Merc drivers is a lot stronger.
Absolutely, but then the car, obviously.
Yeah, and look, if they're going to be bringing upgrades mid-season that could decide their season, and they don't go the way that they planned it, that's a lot of wasted development. Yeah. That could mean that Aston get ahead because they have gone with the Red Bull philosophy. Yeah. They are going to be stronger.
Yeah, and they've tested that obviously in testing now. So and Mercedes are going to come in and obviously have the new side pods and things, and it might be a bit. Well, obviously it might be difficult to get used to that. So I don't know. It's going to be
very, very interesting.
So I don't think we can possibly say who's going to be third or fourth. I just think they're going to be in the battle.
Yes, it's going to be a battle for first and a battle for third.
Yeah,
I think
that's how it's going to be split. I think
100%. And then look, it's. The midfield is going to be so tight this season.
Yeah, but it's kind of crazy though how Aston has literally leapfrogged the middle field.
Six straight up to
actually, we're going to be in the title contenders. Like, what?
Well, to be fair, it is testing, we don't know, but I think everyone, even when Adrian Newey says that Aston Martin could be top contenders,
that's when you know.
That's when you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the midfield, it's going to be difficult. We have no idea yet. Look, Alpine came out guns a-blazing saying that they were going to be pushing for the top 3, and now I think more they're going to be trying to get P4 again.
Yeah, I think so.
No, P5 now, obviously.
P5,
I think Aston.
Yeah.
But look, McLaren are going to have a slow start to the season. Williams looking strong from the start. Haas looking strong from the start. I'm going to say it like that because I normally say Haas, which is the wrong way to say it, but it's the nice way to say it. And look, Bahrain quali. Q2 is going to be very, very interesting to see who gets through.
It is, it really is. 'Cause it's, the first quality of the season is always fun and exciting. I think it's going to be difficult for me though, because we've been watching Formula E races like the past few
Going
years.
back to the
F1 quality, it's going to be really strange.
And unfortunately, I'm not going to be watching it.
Yes,
because
exactly.
I'm doing videography for a wedding, so I'm going to have you texting through going,
all the updates, pretty much it. Well, that's what I do for Formula E anyway. Oh my gosh, Sam! Like he's in the wall.
But yeah, I mean, especially going on from quali, I think the surprise of the season is going to be interesting. I think this season's going to be very interesting. Obviously, the boring answer is going to be Aston.
Yeah.
I think Aston are going to be
already surprised us, to be honest.
But yeah, 100%. But
I don't know.
I think, look, Piastri is strong. I don't think he's going to be surprised to see. Look, I think he's going to be behind Lando. I think the gap's going to be smaller.
Yeah.
But I think he's still going to be behind behind Lando. I mean, what are you? Any surprises?
Do you know what? I'm going to say I hope to see Charles Leclerc as a surprise for the season. Not that I'm not saying that I will, and I'm not saying that is anything that has come from testing. But obviously, like we've said, 16.
Yeah.
I want to see him as a surprise for the season. So, but I don't know.
It's so difficult to predict at the moment.
Yeah, I
think flop of the season though is a lot easier.
I think that's a lot easier to say, and unfortunately I'll say it though to save your heartbreak.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be McLaren this year.
Yeah. I don't think the season's going to be strong for us. I don't think it's going to be a season that we kind of look back on. It's going to be like a Merc last year. It's going to be a season we look back and go, look, we made mistakes. I think if we can get a P6. I would take it. If someone offered me P6 now, I'd take it. But it's going to be a tough season for McLaren fans. It's going to be all over the place. We're going to have places where we're strong, places that we're not. But as long as we keep our composure and kind of maybe even do a halves and halfway through the season move on to development for the next season. But yeah, I don't. Especially Bahrain is going to be tough. I think look out for McLaren to the back because.
Which is so unfortunate, but...
It is, because I don't think it's that we've done badly, well we have, but it's the fact that Williams, the likes of Williams, the likes of Alfa, the likes of Alpine are looking so strong.
Yeah.
Someone has to be at the back, and even though it might be closer,
there's always going to be someone
at the back. And I'm not saying that McLaren are going to be a back mark, I'm not saying they're going to be Williams last year are going to be a lap down and this and the other.
Just
they're not going to be where they're not going to be P7s every race and this and the other.
Which is so unfortunate because of the young driver lineup we've got.
100%. I mean, we've got such a good driver lineup. I'd say one of the best on the grid at the moment, and it's going to be wasted at McLaren. So
which is such a shame.
It's such a shame, but look, we need to look forward.
Yeah.
And look, we could be wrong. It's testing.
We could
get into quali and we're up there with Aston or this, that and the other. But
we just don't know. But
we don't know.
All we do know is that we are excited for quali.
100%.
First race of the season.
It's going to be... It's been 3 months of exhausted in Formula 1 content, so I think we're both very looking forward to it.
Definitely.
Making a trek back up here to watch it.
Yeah.
So that's going to be fun. But yeah.
So I think the one thing we need to talk about here is Drive to Survive.
100%. So let's move on.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to preface that I haven't watched all of the Drive to Survive. I've
watched one episode so far.
Well, I think I've watched like half of one.
But you've made your stance clear that actually Drive to Survive isn't a bit for you.
This is the thing, yeah. So I've always said, I haven't really watched any of the other seasons of Drive to Survive. I've always been sort of, I think I'll actually. The one reason why I've always pushed myself away from watching Drive to Survive is because when I went to buy Silverstone tickets this year, it just put me off because obviously it took me, I think, about 3 days to get tickets that had gone up in price by over £100.
Yeah, they inflated during the ticket buying process.
Yeah, so it just put me off. Like, obviously, it's so great for the sport.
100%, and it's great for the sport, and it's bringing so many new fans in. It's really, really good.
And you can't beat that.
It's the people taking advantage of that. Yeah. It's the tracks going, look, we're going to have more demand. Let's just boost the price to £200.
It's just ridiculous. And
I don't think that's fair.
No.
But at the same time, they've improved this season.
Yeah.
With Drive to Survive. I mean, last season was horrific.
This is it, yeah.
I think all F1 fans can admit the season 4 of Drive to Survive was awful, which was a shame due to the 2021 season.
Yeah, because I think I remember watching it and I just sat and I just couldn't get into it.
I couldn't get into it. It was the videos of like the tyre warming up videos in like race situations, and it never flowed, and they're making up false storylines as ever. And obviously drivers have went to Drive to Survive and been like, get your act together because otherwise you won't take part in it. And this season they've smashed it out of the park.
I think so. I mean, even from watching like just a little bit of the first episode, I'm really like, I want to go and watch it again, sort of thing. So I think they've done really well with it.
Yeah. Look, I think every F1 fan watched Drive to Survive for the insights, the behind the scenes insights. So we normally get one or two per season. Yeah. But this season, every episode had some sort of insight. I mean, episode 2 with the team principals meeting in Canada was unbelievable. You haven't seen it yet.
So excited for that.
It was the fact that Christian asked whether you should put the cameras down, showing that it was actually legit. And just seeing kind of Toto's anger towards all the other teams, and then I think it was episode 6 with Piastri, the whole Piastri situation. Yeah. The fact that at Enstone they had a meeting saying, look, we don't know why Alonso betrayed us, but we've got this brand new driver, Piastri. And then the Piastri situation happened, and then like there was the Alpine trying to sue Piastri and this and the other, and Zach going to Alpine and saying, can you sign Ricciardo? It's all these insights. Yeah, no, you just never get. You hear rumours about it, but you never get it. No. And there were moments that actually the Drive to Survive crew came out and said that people think they forgot to take the mics off. Yeah. Because there was a conversation at the British Grand Prix in Silverstone between Magnussen and Gunther about sacking Mick and saying, look, who should we sign? Yeah. And the names were Ricciardo, Hülkenberg, and there was another one, I can't remember it, but Gunther saying we can't afford Ricciardo. So it's all those insights that you never really get.
You would never know either.
100%. You'd never get them. So I think they've definitely done well this season. I think it's been renewed for another 2 seasons. Yeah. But it's the effect of Drive to Survive on ticket prices and this and that.
Oh yeah, of course. But I'm not gonna obviously, like before I was a bit like I'm not a massive fan, but now watching this, I think they've done really well, and also I'm excited to watch it. To be honest,
and it is really fun to watch. And look, I think especially with our friend group here at uni as well, they watched the first 2 episodes
you can literally see it,
and they started to realise how exciting Formula 1 was through watching Drive to Survive.
They don't even know anything about Formula 1.
They know nothing about it.
And you put that on and then they're like, oh, this is really good, and they become fans, and you can literally see the evolution of what's happening.
Oh, easily, and they're kind of excited to watch new episodes and this and the other. So it's that effect, I think, but it's the people taking advantage of it.
Yeah, I think so. But I think overall we've got really good.
We've got a great season.
Yeah, we've got a great season, and I'm excited to see Drive to Survive this season as well. So, I don't know, it'll be good. It'll
be definitely good.
Yeah, so now it's probably time for us to sign off.
Yeah.
So then, it's been quite a good experience, isn't it?
First podcast.
First podcast. Yeah. Tick off the bucket list, So I hope it was enjoyable for everyone, talking about testing. Really excited for this season. In terms of next week's podcast, it will be me talking about the liveries and what I think of that, and basically just reviewing what we've seen. Because
so obviously these are going to be released after the race, day or 2 after the race, depending on when the race took place. Yeah,
me and Sam will sit down and chat to you about, as in like what we said before, what happened in the race, all that jazz, and it will be uploaded after either Monday or Tuesday, depending on the time of the race.
And then obviously you'll do little ones.
And I'll do little ones in between, just to, keep
top it up.
Keep you there, keep you engaged, On that note, make sure you are subscribed. I'm not going to sound like a normal YouTuber, but make sure you are subscribed.
Like and subscribe.
That's pretty much all I've got to say. So
thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah.